everybody, welcome once again to Wreath by Marguerite YouTube channel. I'm Marguerite, where we make beautiful things for your home. Today is a tutorial for a summer themed beach wreath that is done in the storm door style. What do I mean by storm door? It is a wreath that comes in less than 4 inches deep because the space between a regular door and your screen or storm door is 4 inches. This allows you to put something there without it getting crushed and it being protected. And I'll show you what I mean. A normal wreath, a normal size wreath is anywhere from 8 to 12 inches deep. This comes in at 3.5 to 4 inches deep. It certainly looks super fluffy when you look at it from the front, doesn't it? But you have a much thinner profile. You still have lots of ribbon, you just don't have a big bulky bow. So this is great for your door. You can put it anywhere else as well. Specifically, it is designed to do the part of a wreath for a front door that is got a screen or a storm door on it. So follow along and you'll see how we put this together. I talk about all the tools, all the materials, give you some troubleshooting solutions, as well as some ideas to make it easier to make the wreath yourself. So here we go. Okay, so first of all, let's go over everything that's going to be in your kit. You're going to receive instructions that in the written form that go along with this tutorial. This is a great way to follow along and put any notes on it that you might need to complete your project. You'll also get a thank you card, so let me move that out of the way. You will receive in this kit, pardon, 3 sets of ribbon bundles, 3 styles I should say. This bundle, and this bundle are all 2.5 inches in width. There are other size ribbon, 1.5, 7/8, 5/8, and 4 inches. 2.5 inches and 1.5 inches are what's best for this kind of project. And today we're doing all 2.5 inch. You can mix it up with different sizes, but at least have 1 2.5 inch ribbon. In this case, we're having all 3. You can do 2 sets of ribbon, 3 sets of ribbon, but never less than 2, okay? And like I said, these are all 2.5 inch ribbons. They're all pre-folded for you at 12 inches in length, which is what they need to be for each tie. So you'll have 13 or so pieces of each style, but you only need 12 of each for the project. 12 is a common number in this particular kind of wreath. You're going to need 12 pieces of each ribbon. You're going to have 12 pieces of the deco mesh. The deco mesh is fighting me. This is 10.25 inch mesh. Mesh, it goes anywhere from about 10 inches to 12 inches this way. Most commonly 12 to 12.5, 10 to 10.5, not 12, 10 to 10.5. So you're going to need 12 pieces that are cut 20 inches in length. In the kit, these are all pre-cut for you. You're going to get 12 to 14 pieces in your supplies, okay? So the next 12 is the deco mesh. No, is the wreath frame. You have 12 pipe cleaners attached to the rings on the frame. You need to make sure that it's a frame that has 4 individual rings, 2, 3, 4, and 6 crossbars. Okay? That allows you to place the pipe cleaners on them strategically so that it gives dimension to the wreath, as well as keeping it as flat as possible. So what you do is on ring 1 and 2 together, at the crossbars, you're placing your first 6 pipe cleaners, which in the kit, that's done for you. If you're doing it on your own, you just want to make sure you have 6 on the outer 2 rings at the crossbar, and then the other 6 are in between the crossbars on ring 3 and 4. Okay, and this is done for you. And then last but not least, you're getting a sign. This is a water-resistant welcome beach sign. And on this type of sign, it's not very thick, so you can't staple pipe cleaners in it. On the signs you get in the kit, I've already attached everything you need on the back. First, there are cable tie mounts. These are these little black blocks right here, they generally have adhesive on the back, but we add, what do you call it? Rapid fuse glue. It's like a super glue. You can use super glue too as well before you place these cable tie mounts on the back. I also, if you notice, have hot glue around the edges. That does nothing to keep the cable ties on the mount, cable tie mounts on the wreath sign for any length of time, because in the heat or extreme cold, hot glue will not stand up to it. These will pop off, okay? I put the hot glue on it to help the glue, the rapid fuse glue, cure. So that's just there to help it cure, okay? Then I've taken 2 pipe cleaners cut directly in half. So there's 12 on the frame, and then there's 2 cut in half here, so you have a total of 14 pipe cleaners that you need. And that's all ready to go. If you purchase the kit, that will be done for you. Okay, let's put that out of the way. Then, I'm going to go back out a little bit more. You're going to need some tools. You're going to need a wire cutter. These are the ones that I purchased from Deco Exchange. Their affiliate link is in the description of this video. They have lots of different supplies. I do a lot of my purchasing from them. It's up to you where you do them, but I recommend them highly. You're going to need a good pair of scissors that you generally only use for ribbon, and I have a pair of Fiskar scissors. Excuse me, I'm dry. Then a chip clip. This helps hold things as you go along. Any kind of chip clip will work. And you have a ruler and a wood dowel. If you don't have a wood dowel like this, a pen or a pencil will work. They're about the same diameter. This is for twisting the pipe cleaners on when we get to the top layer, and I'll explain that more when we get up there, and some of the varieties of ways that you can finish off that part of the wreath. So I'm going to take that out of the way because we're not going to need that. I've already pre-cut most of the bundles of ribbon and left enough out for me to show you how to do it. You're going to have ultimately in the end on this wreath 36 pieces of 12-inch mesh, 36 pieces of 12-inch ribbon. They're going to be folded and put in bundles, so you have 12 bundles. So 12 bundles, 12 pieces of ribbon, 12 inches in length, 12 bundles, 12 pipe cleaners, a lot of 12s, and 12 mesh, okay? So the first thing that we're going to work on is putting on the first layer of mesh. So let's get all this extra stuff out of the way because we don't need it right now. We need the mesh, okay? So when we're putting the mesh on, I usually make sure that my pipe cleaners are pulled out horizontally to me on the wreath form. I go around and I pull them out. That's one less thing I have to do as I'm putting the mesh in, making my life easier. It's all about the prep. That's what makes it easy. Okay, we're not worrying about these. We have them pushed to the center because we won't be using them on this layer. That's for the second layer. All right, and when working with the wreath frame, you would probably want to have your frame directly in front of you with the pipe cleaner you're working on directly in front of you so that you remember that is how you want to set it up. I turn it slightly to an angle like this because I'm left-handed. But you will find the position that's most comfortable for you to get the best results. This is just a recommendation to start off with. It's so dry. Pardon. So we're going to put it right over here for now because we're going to prep the mesh to put it in the wreath. You can see how it curls up. It's completely normal. And what you need to do is you're going to take that piece of mesh and turn it curl side down long ways to you. This is a solid colored mesh, so there's no lines in it except for the little bitty ones here to help you stay on the center when you're gathering it. So I'm going to give you some pointers on how best to gather this and keep it centered. So I said it was a 10.5 inch mesh, so the center is going to be 5 inches. That's where the ruler and the chip clip comes in. So we're going to put the chip clip right here at 5 1/4. So we know that's the center, and then I'm going to turn it around to the top. And then I'm going to measure with the ruler again at 5¼ inches. And that's where I'm going to start gathering. I use this as a visual focal point so that I stay in the center when I'm gathering the wreath mesh. You can use a cutting board like I have beneath it, or a ruler, or that, or both, or a combination of all. If you have a piece of mesh or a style of mesh that has designs in it, it truly does make it easier to gather it because you have a very apparent visual line to follow to go up there. So I've found that this has helped me tremendously in gathering when it's a solid colored mesh. So this was the center. I'm going to take my thumbs and place them on the outside of the mesh and take the rest of my fingers and gather the mesh as I go up the mesh into my thumbs, trying to stay in the center. You can either crawl all the way up or bring it down some and continue to gather it. That way you're comfortable while you're having fun. Don't be uncomfortable. And also remember that these are my suggestions that of what I found works best for me. So once I got to the top, I pull the clip off and I get that one last little piece in there. And I'm loosely holding the mesh with my index finger and my thumb in the center there. And I'm positioning the mesh to make sure it's a nice circle. Okay? See how that's far off? I'm going to grab that mesh, but not from the end, and bring it out to meet the edge of that one. Okay? And I'm going to bring the frame over in front of me. And remember, I said I hold it slightly to the side. Find your comfort zone. So I'm going to have it slightly angled, and I'm going to take the mesh in both hands and bring it over the pipe cleaner, which is horizontal, and I'm putting the mesh in vertically. I'm going to bring this pipe cleaner up around the center, and I'm going to tightly twist it 2 to 3 times. That's enough to hold it in, and doing it tight like that keeps the profile of the mesh and the pipe cleaners much smaller. And that's important when you're dealing with the storm wreath because we want to keep it under that 4 inches of space you have. So now I'm going to take the outside cut edge of the mesh over the inside cut edge of the mesh on one side. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on the other side. Remember, we're doing that to hide as much of the cut edge as possible because mesh frays, there's no way around it. But the less you handle it, the less it's exposed, the better off you're going to be for the fraying issue. Now this is not perfect, okay? See how over here it comes out further? We can adjust it without damaging the mesh, and always cut off your little pieces of fray as you go. Okay, I always try to keep the pipe cleaners up in the center and out of the way. I also use it to hold when I'm adjusting the mesh. I need to bring this out just a little bit. I always try to grab it from down in the center so that I can match this. And the reason I do it from the center is because that way if the mesh is stretched a little bit and the design is changed a little bit, it's going to be down in the center where nobody's going to see. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to look at it, and it looks pretty round. This is kind of pointy over there, so I'm going to grab it here and by the pipe cleaner. Worst case scenario, you can take it back up and regather it, but minimize doing that. If you feel more comfortable doing what I just did, please do that rather than taking it out and re-ruffling it because that's more handling of the mesh. So once we get it in the shape we want to curl under the outside edges as much as it'll allow us to, and you'll understand that if you've ever used mesh. It has a mind of its own. Another tip for you is when you are working with mesh particularly, try to make sure you're wearing short sleeves because this stuff is like Velcro. It sticks to anything and everything, including and especially itself. But you don't want to wear long sleeves because it's going to catch on it constantly and that'll cause more fray. And you don't want to wear any good clothes when you're dealing with mesh because, again, especially like a sweater, it's going to snag that like crazy. Okay? Standing up helps, but that's not going to really make a difference if you're wearing long sleeves. Okay, so now I have that first one in position. I do every other because I like the way it looks when it lays out complete. And it helps to keep the wreath flat. So I'm going to skip that one and go to this one. Grab another piece of mesh. I've heard people say that they use a wood burner to cut their mesh and there's less fray. Yes and no. You're still going to get it. It's never possible to get rid of it entirely. Excuse me. I'm going to put the curl side down long ways. Take the ruler and I'm going to measure. Put the clip at 5 1/4, and then I'm going to flip it around. See how curly it is? And then I'm going to put the ruler down and measure out 5 1/4, and then start gathering in my thumbs. Going up the center, using that chip clip as my focal point to keep me centered. Bring it towards me. Don't work harder, work smarter. I think that's how the saying goes, right? Take the chip clip off and hold it in your index finger and thumb loosely so that you can adjust the mesh but never grab at the outside edge to get it in the shape you want, which is as close to a circle as possible. Then bring your wreath frame over horizontal with the pipe cleaners. Put the mesh in vertically, center it. Tight twists 2 or 3 times and low. Okay, position the outside cut edge over the... See? I didn't even follow my own directions. Okay. I am getting over a cold, and that's the only excuse I have. We'll come back to you. Okay. Let's put that in there. Oh my goodness. See? No one is perfect. No one. And this is handmade, so it's going to reflect who we are. So anyway, outside cut edge over inside cut edge. I could have left it there. That would have been fine and just gone around. I just like how it looks laying when I do it the other way. Now I'm going to hold it at the pipe cleaners, grab it from the center to bring it out to get it rounded. And I didn't mention it in the last one, but what you're looking for, why this is important, is you want to make sure you have a nice rounded outside edge on your mesh. This is what's going to be seen. This in the center is all going to be covered up. See how that looks. But you still want to try to get it as close to circular as possible. Just looks nice. More finished. Okay? See, I think it looks perfectly round looking at it. But when I look in the camera, it's a little off. So I'm going to bring it out just a little bit more here. Yeah, okay, so we're going to skip that and go to this one. See, it's catching on the ribbon. Try to make sure that you're working with the surfaces as clear as possible from all sorts of extra stuff, because it ends up getting on it, attaching to the mesh. So we're going to measure it with the long side this way, curl side under. 5 1/4 inches is where we're putting the clip, flipping it around. And if you're wondering what's all over this, that's a magnet because it's a chip clip. It's all the little metal pieces from ribbon I've cut. Every so often I have to throw away the stuff that builds up on there. So there's the ruler, 5 1/4 inches. Gather it into your thumb and forefinger, going up the center using that chip clip as your gauge to stay on center. Keep you focused. I will show you when we get to the second layer of mesh, a different way to do this that I'm more comfortable with, that I've learned over time. Hold that loose in your thumb and forefinger. Line it all up the best you can. Come over to the horizontal pipe cleaner, put the mesh in vertically. Take that pipe cleaner, tighten low, twist it 2 or 3 times. Push it up in the air so it's out of the way while I put the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Turn those outer edges under. There's a piece of fray there. There we go. How does that look? And hold it in the center to get it, because let's see how far that's off. There we go. That's nice and round. Now we're going to go back and do the 3 in between. Okay. Curl side down. With that ruler, measure and mark out 5 1/4. Measure 5 1/4 is there. This is part of, I'm already changing my pattern. So get that in the center. That was a sneak peek of how I do my mesh when I'm at home at the studio. Tight and low, 2 or 3 times. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Assess your circle, make any adjustments you need. You have to pull it back out of the pipe cleaners. Go for it, but never grab it at the edge. Okay, next one. You meet again, pipe cleaner. Okay, we're gonna get the next piece of mesh, turn it curl side down on the table. Take that ruler, find 5 1/4 inch and clip it. I use the edge of the table to pull open the curl, it makes it easier. 5 1/4 inches and gather into your thumbs, crawling up the mesh with all the rest of your fingers. Take the clip off, hold it loosely in your thumb and forefinger. Bring it over here. The more wreaths that I make in a day, the less I have to make adjustments to the shape of the mesh because I get into a groove. That looks good there. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge, outside cut edge over inside cut edge, and then curl it under. See that? Nice and round. Come on. Okay. Now this is the last one for this layer. I'll put this mesh aside for now because we won't need it for a little while. Take that curl side down, and if it gets to be a pain and keeps curling up on you, sit something heavy on one end. I use the clippers or my phone. Anything that's within arm's reach. Clip it at 5 1/4 inches. Flip it around. Five and 1/4 inches and gather into my thumb and forefinger. Gathering up the center, trying to stay as close to the center as I can. Pull that clip off. Put the mesh in my thumb and forefinger. Adjust the mesh as needed to make sure that it's nice and round. And then bring it over to the pipe cleaner that is horizontal to me, putting the mesh in vertically. Okay. Tight and low, pull that pipe cleaner 2 to 3 times. I put that in the air so it's out of the way, and then I'm going to take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, and the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on this side. Alright, and it's way off over there. I'm holding it from the pipe cleaner, grabbing deep down into the mesh so I'm not messing up the design. Go under here and fix this. This needs, see how that dips in? That's why it's so far out over here. So I'm going to grab it. Bring it out a little bit more. That looks good. good. Curl it under. All right, now we're ready to put in our first layer of ribbon tails. So I've already pre-made most of the bundles and left enough to show you the process. So the way I made the bundles is how I'm going to put it into the wreath. I'm going to have this seashell on top, the blue in the middle to break up the patterns, and the coral stripe with the white on the bottom. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 made. I still have 4 of each here, so that means I'm going to have an extra set. All right, so with the ribbons, you're going to get 3 to 6 bundles. You may get 12 of the blue in one bundle, or you might get 2 bundles with 6 to 7 each. That's because I buy multiple rolls of ribbon to make these kits, and sometimes your ribbon comes from 2 different rolls of ribbon, but don't be worried. I always make sure the color match is exact so that you don't have 2 different colors or shades in your kit. So this one, I think that they were all bundles of 12 to 13 for each. You need 12, cut at 12 inches of each of the ribbons. So right here I have 4 of each. So I'm going to show you how to prep the ribbon. All right. I often put them on the table in front of me, how I'm going to put them in the bundle too. That's just me. I'm just that way. Okay, so I'm going to take the first, which is the seashells, and they're folded at 12 inches. So there's 2 on each side in this bundle. You'll probably have 6 to 7 on each side. So on this side of the bundle, the pattern, the finished side is facing the ceiling, and the back side of the bundle, the pattern side is facing the table. So I find that it's important to put a couple fingers between each side of the bundle before I cut. We're going to cut up here where it's folded. We're going to cut down here where it's folded, keeping them in our fingers like that. So these have patterns on them, so it's easy to tell what the finished side and the not finished side is. But just for the sake of consistency, I always immediately turn the bottom of the pile on top of the pile so that I can immediately fold them in half and know that the finished side is on the inside of each piece of ribbon. Why that's important to me is because there are many a time when I have to walk away from a project and I come back, and especially with the solid color ribbon, I don't want to have to second guess whether I have them folded correctly or not, so I always fold it right away. Because on the solid color ribbons, it's a lot less apparent what the finished side is from the non-finished side. So if you follow this technique, you're going to be a whole lot less likely to have them upside down. So again, I have 4 here, so 2 on each side of the fold. So I'm going to tell you that the finished side is facing the table right here. So there's the finish, that's the back. There's the finish, that's the back. So I always put a couple fingers in the middle before I cut at the folds to make them 12-inch pieces for the tails. And I immediately take the bottom of the pile and flip it over to the top. So now I know all my finished sides of this particular solid ribbon are facing the ceiling. So then I immediately fold them in half with the finished side on the inside. It just saves me from second guessing myself. Most people are not going to notice this. It's not that big of a deal unless you're going to do this by trade. You always see the things that you missed. Most others won't be able to see those things. But I do that so I have ease of mind. Here's the last 4 of the coral. Put my fingers in the middle, cut at the top, cut at the bottom, turn the bottom of the pile on top, flip it, and then fold them all. And then the next step after this is to put these pretty little V's in the top of the ribbon to finish off the edges. Get that last one done. Okay, so now the next step, you'll be doing all 12 sets of each ribbon. You're going to cut the V. It's called a dovetail, a V, a ducktail. Just depends on where you are and what you've learned it by. So when we cut the V's in the top, we always want to make sure that that side we folded is touching the table and the cut side of the ribbon is facing the ceiling. Let me bring you in so you can see this a little closer. All right, it's okay that that's a little cockeyed because it's all going away in a second. So you have your folded side down, cut side up. Take the wires, bring it across, fold it wire to wire, and then you have a fold here. So you're going to cut from the fold to the wire at a 45-degree angle right at the top. Don't cut too far down because you'll lose length in your ribbon. Folded side down, cut side up, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Folded side down, wire to wire, cut from this fold to the wire at a 45-degree angle, okay? You're going to do this at least 36 times because that's how many you need for sure for your wreath. And in a minute, once I get these all cut, I'm going to give you some troubleshooting ideas on how to fix them. So folded side down, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Folded side down, wire to wire, cut from the fold to the wire. Okay. Fold side down, wire to wire, 45-degree angle. Okay, so now I don't need that extra one. Folded side down, wire to wire, making sure they're nice and even, cut from the fold to the wire. Folded side down, wire to wire, making sure they're nice and even, cut at an angle, 45 degrees to the top corner of the wire. Folded side down, wire to wire, cut from the folded side to the wire at a 45-degree angle. That one was giving me fits. Folded side down, fold wire to wire, cut from the folded side to the wire. Okay. All right, these are spares. Get my trash clean as you go. It makes it a lot easier. It's not attaching itself to all the Velcro. Okay, so what color do I want to use? I think we'll use the blue. Let me cut this off. So I'm going to give you 3 examples on how to handle them. First one is, again, you're going to have that folded side down on the table and the cut side towards the ceiling. You're going to fold it in half, but if you're not careful and your wires aren't lined up like this, and you cut it at that 45-degree angle, you're going to have 2 different size V's. This one's much smaller than that one. It's easy to fix by going back and putting it folded side down, but this time making absolutely sure that your wires are matched up. So you'll see a gap there and a cut from where you did before, and just fix it. You're losing very little ribbon, okay? So the next troubleshooting idea, so that's how you fix that. So let's fold it and get it ready. So now we're going to cut it, but we're not going to be at a 45-degree angle. We're going to accidentally or intentionally cut it way down here. See how deep that is compared to this one? It's pretty, yes. But what happens is when you have too deep of a cut, when you put it in the wreath, it's going to start doing this stuff and cave in on itself, where it won't do that there. You can fix this. You're going to lose a touch of length because you're still going to start at the same point right here, so you're not going to lose any length here. But you're going to make sure to bring it in a little bit to give it that 45-degree angle, and you've recovered. So those 2 things you can obviously recover from, right? Now, this is the final one. So this is the cut side, and this is the side that's folded. I'm going to accidentally on purpose turn it upside down. Okay, I'm still going to follow the same procedure by folding it wire to wire, and then you have that fold there, and you're going to cut it at a 45-degree angle. You did everything right, right? Nope, because you did it upside down, you're going to have 2 pieces of ribbon, and you can't recover from that. That is bad. That is not going to work. And that's why I feel it's so important that when you're a beginner and when you have a kit with minimal supplies in it, that you cut them one at a time so that you can recover from most mistakes. Most people that buy these kits are trying to learn a new skill and are not sure whether they want to invest in a lot of product and have a bunch of product left over. So we put what you need plus a touch more so that if you make a mistake, you can move on without waiting to get more materials to build your wreath. So that is why it is so important to me that you take the time and do them one after another instead of trying to take a whole bundle and cut them all at the same time. Even I don't usually cut a whole bundle at the same time because a lot of times you'll end up with that mistake where one side is wider than the other. That's just me. But once you get more comfortable with the process, by all means, do multiples at a time. So now I'm going to put these bundles together. Put that. So what do we have? We need 12 bundles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to put this inside of this, and this inside of this. That's 10. This one inside of this. And this, that's 11. And that's why it's important, because we want what's on top in the center. It's all about making things easier on yourself and keeping it fun. So now we've completed all our ribbon bundles. I'm going to bring the camera back out. Okay. All right. So we just need 6 for the bottom layer. I'm going to set these aside for now, and I'm going to show you how to assemble the ribbon tail bundles. So remember, in the mesh, we wanted the pipe cleaners to be horizontal, and the mesh was vertical. Now it's the opposite with the ribbon bundles. Now you want the pipe cleaners vertical because you're going to put in your ribbon tails horizontal. There's no wording on this, and the pattern goes every which way, so we don't have to worry about whether it's upside down or not. It doesn't matter. There's no difference in any of these ribbons. If you had words on them, it would be important to make sure that the wording on this layer of the mesh was facing you so it was right side up. So another purpose of that fold in the center is so we know where our center is for gathering it. We're going to gather that up into our index finger and our thumb. And then we're going to take the other hand underneath and take the ribbon tails at an inverted V. The reason we do that is when we put it in the wreath, that helps the ribbon stay facing to the outside edge of the wreath. We're going to take that pipe cleaner and tighten low, go 1 or 2, and then we're going to wrap it up after we get it tight and low till we create a stub that's at least 1 inch long. That's usually about 6 to 8. Where's the 1 inch? 6 to 8 twists, and then we're going to cut off the excess. Okay. We're going to tuck that stub of pipe cleaner down into the mesh, and then we're going to fan out our ribbon in the design we want. So I usually do one side one way and one side the other, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to have. I tugged on that pretty good, brought that one up there, put the blue in the center, and the seashells down here. And then as I'm going along, I'm taking my fingers in there and popping up the little bubbles that are created from gathering the ribbon. Now on this side, I'm going to do it the opposite. The coral is going to be to the bottom, the blue is still going to be in the center, and the seashells on top. And I usually go back and hold it in the center because we don't want to pull it from the outside cut edge. Just like mesh, it can fray. And position the ribbon the way I want it to be. And again, I do every other. Again, it's about dimension and keeping the height of this wreath, the depth of this wreath, under 4 inches. So we're going to grab the pipe cleaners and put them vertical to us. Grab another bundle, gather it at the crease, which is the center, in one hand, and then take the other hand underneath and make our inverted V, keeping those ribbon tails facing the outside edge of the wreath. I'm going to put this tight and low a couple times, and then we're going to do it tight and upwards till we get a 1 inch twist. Cut the excess that's not twisted off. Okay, tuck that in, and then spread out our ribbon tails to the edge of the wreath in the design we want them to be. The pattern design, whatever you want to call it. I like to hold it in the center so I can get a hold of the ribbons and bring them out. This is going to give pretty full coverage with the ribbon. It's going to hide most of the mesh. The mesh is your solid foundation. It's up to you how much you want to see the mesh. So I skipped the next one. I've gone to the next one after that. Put my pipe cleaners vertical because the ribbon's going in horizontal. Okay. Hold it with one hand. Bring the other one to make the inverted V. Twist high, tight, and low 2 or 3 times, then twist up to 1 inch twist and cut off the excess. See that? And cut that excess off. Tuck the pipe cleaner in, spread out the ribbon. You can be a little aggressive with the ribbon because it's in there nice and tight if you follow the technique I'm showing you. I'm going to do it opposite on this side. You can set them up in whatever pattern you want. You could have seashells all out or the coral. I always forget to say that name. It's up to you. So now we're going to go back and do the other 3 on this layer. And we're going to put this pipe cleaners vertical. Gather that. Bring it down into the V. Put it in the pipe cleaner, tight and low 2 to 3 times. Then up to make a 1 inch twist. Cut the excess off. Tuck that pipe cleaner in. Now you can wait till you get all the ribbon in and then tuck the pipe cleaners in. I like to do it as I go so then I don't have to worry about coming back to it or if I forget it. We all have our routines and you will find what is best for you. I like to give as many pointers as I can without overwhelming you, so you don't have to go through the same rigmarole I had to go through. Hold it there, spread it out. There we go. 2 to go on this layer. Vertical pipe cleaner. Horizontal ribbon. Gather. Inverted V with the other hand. Place it in the pipe cleaner. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. Twist it up. Make an inch stub. Cut off the excess. Tuck it in. Get those little bubbles of wrinkles out. Spread out the ribbon. If you notice, I'm turning the ribbon, the wreath each side of the bundle I'm working on, making it smarter, not harder, by contorting the wreath and not my body. Okay. Last one on this layer with the vertical pipe cleaner. I'm going to put this bundle of ribbon like that. Tight and low. 2 or 3 times and make it go up in a twist for 1 inch. Cut off the excess above the twist. Push that down into the frame, into the mesh, and position your ribbon. Get rid of the bubbles the best you can. Okay, so the first layer is complete. So now what we need to do is go back and put the second and final layer of mesh in. First thing we do is we bring the pipe cleaners up between each two pieces of mesh from the lower layer. 1, 2, 3. And don't be worried if your ribbon starts creeping up. We'll go back at the end and pull it out where it needs to be positioned. But doing that inverted V when you're positioning it in the first place does help to keep it out further. So that one's 4. 5. 6. Okay, so now once again we're going to put those pipe cleaners in horizontal position to us so that when we get to them they're ready to go. Keeping things simple and easy. Okay, we're ready for the next 6 pieces of mesh now. Move this out of the way and bring. This time we're not going to use the ruler because if you don't have a ruler, it's still very easy to get the mesh prepped. Okay, so it's always curl side down on the mesh. These rolls are getting a little bit curlier because they're from further inside of the roll of the mesh I got them from. So instead of using the ruler to find the center, we're just going to fold it in half. One less tool to have. Pretty smart, huh? I don't know if anybody else does this, but I found it on my own and I don't use a ruler anymore. I'm going to gather it into our thumb and forefinger. It's creeping them up to the top, staying on the center. Focusing on the clip to make sure we stay on center. Loosely holding it with the thumb and forefingers so that we can get that circle nice and round. Again, the outside edge is what's going to show, so that's the most important part to get just right. Put it in the pipe cleaner, tighten low 2 to 3 times. Okay. I always try to put the pipe cleaners up in the air and out of the way. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Now that there's more mesh here, it's attaching itself. I'm telling you, it's like Velcro. And it will snag the heck out of your clothes if you're not careful. Okay, there's one. I'm going to skip that one and go to the next one. Using that to weigh it down because it's super curly now because it's from further into the roll. Get over there. Okay. Folding it side to side to find the center. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I gather it. In the bottom layer and in that last one, I held it in my thumbs and I gathered with both hands going up to the clip. Well, now I'm going to show you how I do it every day in my studio when I'm mass producing for my shop. Just using one hand and using the other hand to guide it and keep it on center. I get pretty fast doing it this way. Come back over, place this vertically in the horizontal pipe cleaners. Bring them up, tighten low 2 to 3 times. Show it who's in charge. Okay, take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Once again, reminding you that I do it that way to minimize the exposure of the cut edge so that there's a less chance of fraying. Okay. Curl that under, skip one and go to the next one. Things are getting wild in here, everything's moving. Okay. I use the edge of the table to help unroll the curl. I find that helps, especially when we get to the center of the roll. Clip it there at 5 1/4 inches, turn it around, curl side down. Fold it in half. Gather it up, and then use one hand. I find that works pretty darn well for me. Hold it in my thumb and forefinger. And turn it this way, because I liked this center side for the outside better. We move the wreath and don't contort ourselves unless we have to. Standing up does help, but I'm a sitter. Take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge, outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Put the pipe cleaners in the air after I've adjusted it, and we've done the first 3, so now we can go back and do those final 3. It's super curly. Put that in there, put that in there. You will have 13 pieces in your kit. Mine do not. You only need 12. So curl side down. We're folding in half on one end. We're putting the clip where the half point is. Halfway point. Turn it around. So curly. Take that out now. Fold it in half. And then gather up the center. Using the chip clip to guide our way to make sure we stay in the center as we gather. I'm using the index finger and my middle finger to gather when I just use one hand. Get that nice and round. Okay, come back over here. I recommend having at least 3, preferably 5 feet of space to work when you're building a wreath like this, so you can move things slightly out of the way when you're preparing other products to go into the wreath. When you don't have enough room, it can be frustrating, and this is fun stuff. We're supposed to have fun. No frustrations. Okay, holding that pipe cleaner when we're adjusting the circle. Next, always trying to turn out the outside. See, let go. Making sure the outside edge is rounded. This must be from the very center of the roll because these are super curly. Super duper curly. Leave that there until I get to that point. Fold it in half, find your center, gather up the center. Gather it at the center until we get to the clip. Hold it in your thumb and forefinger loosely so you can adjust your circle. Bring it over to the wreath, or bring the wreath over to you, I should say. Put that mesh in there. Tight and low 2 to 3 times. Pipe cleaners up. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Okay. Position that all, and now we're going to do the final one. Get over here. Fold it in half, clip at the center, turn it around, fold in half, start gathering up the center. Bring it down to you if it's easier than crawling all the way up. Okay. Holding it in your thumb and forefinger, position the mesh so that you have a circle. Bring it over to the wreath. Put the mesh in vertically into a horizontal pipe cleaner. Tighten low 2 to 3 times. Stick the pipe cleaners up in the air out of the way. Take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. The outside cut edge over the inside cut edge to protect from fray. Adjust your circle holding the pipe cleaner if needed. Curl under the outside edge if needed, or can do. And that's the last of the mesh. So the next step is either the ribbon or the sign, and that's entirely up to you which order you do it in. I like to put my sign in first because I like the ribbon to sit on top of the sign a little bit. So what I have done is I put the pipe cleaners in at 12, 3, 6, and 9 o'clock on the sign. So when I put it in the wreath, I want to put this one where 12 o'clock would be on the mesh and this one where 6 o'clock would be on the mesh. And then I'm going to make sure it's centered. You can stand or sit to do that. I'm going to sit to put the pipe cleaners. We're going to push it through the mesh all the way to the back of the wreath, making sure it's ever so slightly under the sign because you don't want to see this pipe cleaner from the outside. Ribbon will probably cover it, but the less we see of the mechanics, the better. I'm going to do the top and bottom first, and then we're going to flip it over to attach the pipe cleaners to the frame. So I'm going through the mesh, pushing it through. And then we'll go back and do the pipe cleaners that are at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So that's still centered. So I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to press down a little bit on the wreath. We want the sign not to sink in terribly, but excuse me, a little bit. And then I'm just going to wind this pipe cleaner around the frame. And when I'm done winding it around, I want to make sure that point is pushed down into the wreath so that if it doesn't scratch somebody's door. Here we go. We're going to take this right here. I'm so sorry about my coughing. I get talking a lot, and that's what happens. So we're going to wrap this up. And the reason we do it 2 at a time is so that the sign, push that point down into the wreath, doesn't end up cockeyed. So if we do this one, these 2 first, they're even, and then we do these 2, it's not going to be like this or like this. It's going to be perfectly set in the center at the right height on every aspect, okay? So now I'm going to take this and put it through the mesh just under where the sign is. So there's that one. Let's go ahead and do this one. This is a 10-inch sign versus some of the others I use, so it doesn't come out all the way to the pipe cleaners. If you watch more of my videos, you'll see that. Okay, so now we're going to put these around the wire frame until we twisted it all the way on. And then we're going to take the pointed side and press it down. Do that one, get it around there. Twist it, get that pointed side down into the wreath. I don't know, what's that from? Looks like a pine. Alright, so, we're all moved around. And you notice this ribbon is hiding. We'll get that at the end. So now, I'm going to add the other 6 bundles. And today I'm going to stand to do it. I always do 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock last. So I usually do these two and then these two. So let me start on this side. Now, unlike the bottom layer, we're still going to gather it up the center. We're not going to make the inverted V because we want this to spread out like a starburst. Where is this pine coming from? Oh, the tree behind me. 2 to 3 times we're twisting tight and low, okay? I'm going to put those up in the air for now. Why am I getting so much glare? So I'm going to separate the ribbon out in the pattern I like. And on this layer, it's going to be the same on both sides. But I'm going to flip-flop the seashell and flip-flop the seashell and the coral stripe. Sorry about the glare, if it's there. So again, right here, 1, 2 to 3. Put it in the air. So this time I'm putting the starfish sand dollars in the center and bringing the coral out. And I usually grab the top two and bring the bottom one out to where I want it positioned first. Generally, that's how I do it. And I tend to curl it as I go along, but I usually do it at the end of them as well. So see that so far? There we go. Down there we have less glare. I'll try to work down there. So we're gonna skip 6 o'clock. Gather that up. Put it in here. 2 or 3 times. Put it up in the air out of the way. So this one's gonna be the same as this one. Okay, so we're gonna bring these two up, bring that out, bring that out. Bring that out, okay? Same thing on this side. Bring those up, this out, and this one. And then this one. See how that'll lay on top of that, that will lay on top of that, and then the center ones will lay on top of the others. I just like how it looks that way. Them in there, tighten low 2 to 3 times, spread them out. So that was in, so the sun seashells are in. Bring that out. It's definitely a fuller look when you use 3 2.5 inch wide ribbons. Definitely gives it a fuller look. So now we're going to do 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock, gathering in the center, bring it up into the pipe cleaners, tighten low, twist those pipe cleaners 2 to 3 times, turn the wreath so you're making it easier on yourself. Bring that out because we want the seashells up. Trash must have got pipe cleaner stubs got stuck to the mesh and decided to go over there. I'm telling you, it's Velcro. The last set in the center at 12 o'clock. Tighten low 2 to 3 times. Get the pipe cleaners up. Flare out your ribbon in the fashion you'd like. So this one, the coral's there. Okay, now I'm going to sit back down. Let's curl the pipe cleaners. Now the pipe cleaners could be done in a variety of fashions. You could do it exactly the way it is on the bottom, except for twist it a little bit more because you want to hide the pipe cleaners up and under the ribbon, so you only have a stub. That's one way to do it. You could put like little starfish or shells here, glue them on, because they're not going to make the wreath any thicker if you do that. Or you can do it the way I'm going to do it today. I'm going to make what I call piggy tails. So after you've twisted it tight 2 or 3 times, you're going to take that dowel. That's where this dowel comes in handy. Comes into the picture. Just a bit less. There we go. I think there's less glare there. It's the time of day. So I'm going to take that pipe cleaner and I'm going to twist it around the dowel, or if I use a pen or a pencil, till I get it wound down to the center. And then I do the pipe cleaner the opposite way on the other side of it, twisting it down till we get to the center. You can pull it out to see the little spiral if you want, or you can tuck it in like I'm going to do. We'll straighten out the ribbon when we get done. So I'm going to do that on all 6 sets of pipe cleaners. If the length of the pipe cleaner is radically different on one side from the other, I will trim the pipe cleaners like here. See how much shorter this piece is right here? So I'm going to trim that so they're even. Most people won't even notice that. Twist that one, that's 3. How's this one? Oh, that one's quite a bit different too. Twist it around. Like I said, you could put cute little elements in the center if you're going to hide the pipe cleaner. I might go home and see if I have any seashells or starfishes left from a couple of the projects I've done. You can also buy buttons that have a shank on it, which is a little bar on the back with a hole in it. In the fabric department stores, they have lots of cute ones. If you've seen any of my other videos, I've had ladybugs and bees. Valentine's Day, I've had hearts. I've had shamrocks for St. Patrick's Day. Okay, I'm going to stand back up. There's lots of things you could do. First, I'm going to reposition the ribbon on the bottom layer because it's snuck up a little bit. Make sure you separate it from the mesh so you don't snag either of them. You want to see that pretty ribbon, right? Never grabbing from the absolute edge where it's been cut because we don't want to fray it. The less you handle any of these products, the better. Okay, now I'm going to go around the top and I'm going to fluff up my ribbon a little bit more and make sure it's spread out how I want it to. I always do 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock last. It's just me. That's me. I'm going to come over here. It's less of that glare. And there you have it. And there you have it. I still say that the camera does not pick out how gorgeous this wreath is. The colors are really vibrant and fun. And like I said in the video, you could certainly attach sand dollars, starfish, shells right here that were really small and not change the depth of the wreath. That would pump it up a little bit more. Those things are not provided in the kits. The kits are everything that you saw in the video, including the directions and a little bonus coupon to say thank you for purchasing a kit from me. It's very important to me to make sure that you learn the easiest and best ways possible to make a wreath so that you're not intimidated. Just remember, this is fun. Take your time, enjoy the process, and you'll end up with a beautiful wreath. And don't forget to reach out to me and share your pictures with me of your finished product. If you have any questions, anything like that, I'd be more than happy to assist with that. I'm loving the stuff I'm seeing coming in so far. Also, the kits and this completed wreath will be listed in my Etsy shop as of this video being released. If you have any questions about it, please message me through Etsy, and my Etsy shop is where it's going to be, like I said. Also, if you wouldn't mind, I would really appreciate it if you followed me on Facebook. It's also Wreath by Marguerite, and that's where it's posted that a video is coming up shortly, all right? Also, thank you for taking some time out of your day and in spending it with me. I know your time is valuable. I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel so you can get notifications as well as to when these videos are coming out. I think that's it. I just hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.